60, and it's live from the News Hub here in Accra. My name is Issa Moni.
And I'm Natalie Ford to look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray.
7 suspected robbers gunned down over police officer's death in Kumasi.
Minority in Parliament demands the suspension of the closed fishing season.
Importers and exporters question implementation of the cargo tracking note suspended in May this year.
Also in the bulletin, we will take you through possible difficulties by patients in accessing the University of Ghana Medical Center to be open to the public tomorrow, July 18.
Ahead in business this evening, the Ghana Stock Exchange suspends trading in ADB Bank shares.
And in some international news tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump hits back after facing fierce criticism over his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. We'll bring you the details right away. And tonight, in News 360, 7 out of the 8 suspected robbers whose attack reportedly led to the death of a police officer with the SWAT unit of the Ashanti Regional Police Command have been gunned down. The deceased officer, Lance Corporal Daniel Tieku, was on duty with his colleague, Lance Corporal Eric Insia, when 8 masked men attacked the vehicle they were traveling in at Airebi Chrome near Manson Kwanta on July 13. The bodies of the 7 persons have been dispatched to the Komfanoshi Teaching Hospital morgue.
And let's now turn to Parliament, as the minority in Parliament has called on the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development to suspend the closed fishing season. Ranking member of the Food and Agriculture Committee, Eric Opoku, says government is being insensitive to the plights of the fishers, who he says are already suffering in the light of economic mismanagement.
At a news conference in Parliament House, the minority said the move to ban fishing by the sector ministry in August was not well thought through. According to them, it is shocking for the ministry to have announced the ban, indicating it is only the Fisheries Commission that can declare such a move.
Parliament has no information on attempts to close the fishery for a month, much as you support any effort to reverse the trend in the decline of our fishery stock. This is a country where we do not have a research vessel or a well-resourced research laboratory. To plan a closure requires adequate scientific study on the migratory patterns of the species one intends managing and identifying their breeding grounds and periods. This, we are aware, has not been done.
He noted the closed season was enacted in other African countries, including Senegal and Morocco, but that did not render the fishers jobless.
Said facts indicate that Ghana has an open sea with small pelagic Semolina and mackerel migrating from the west, that's Azim and Ketre Points area, towards the east, Benin. The journey begins annually in May and ends in October. They are normally found in Accra Keita Enclave in August, heading towards Benin. This means that there is no guarantee that the fish will remain in our waters after August. Since fishermen earn only per trip, it means that a day without fishing is just like losing a monthly salary.
Eric Opoku said the ban would not only impoverish the fisher folks, but would also increase fish importation, which will have a dire consequence on the exchange rate. The minority therefore asked for an immediate suspension of the ban.
Our fisher folks have secured loans and repaired their nets and other fishing gears in anticipation of bumper harvest season and are in debt. How do they manage their debts? We are also calling on the scientific community to determine the scientific areas where the fish spawns, so they can either close permanently or temporarily to preserve our resources. ban on fishing in the entire economic exclusive zone is a practical display of insensitivity to the plight of our hard-working fishers and must be reversed forthwith.
He also urged government to purchase a research vessel for the country to conduct regular surveys as promised in 2017.
Let's head back to London, straight to the House of Parliament, where the House has approved a $90 million loan facility to establish a satellite campus of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development at Bunso in the Eastern region. The approval was amidst disagreement from the minority, who argued that the law was being breached by government, as the first satellite campus is by law expected to be established at Donkokrum and not Bunso.
The law establishing the University of Environment and Sustainable Development indicates that the first satellite campus of the school be established at Donkokrum in the Eastern region. The main university campus, which is located at Somanya, also in the Eastern region, was established in 2015. The $90 million loan from the Export-Import Bank of Korea is to establish the satellite campus at Bunso. This, the minority on Friday said the project was overpriced, arguing $40 million was used for the main campus and wondered why a satellite campus would cost $90 million. They added the action by government to move the next campus from Donkokrum to Bunso was illegal. On Tuesday, the minority challenged a voice vote and wanted a head count to determine the approval of the loan. After the head count, the majority had 125 as against 75 by the minority. The loan agreement has since been approved, but Deputy Minority Leader James Kluche Aveji says the minority might go to court, insisting it was illegal and that government should have first amended the law.
There's a provision in the order says that the council of the university can decide to add any other campus. The point that we are saying now, driving at, is that we do not have the council in place. So a decision of establishing another campus should be taken by the council. So once we do not have the council, who is taking that decision? That's the first question. The second question is that, is the Donkokrum campus still going to be built? If it's still going to be built, then we should wait for the council to be in place to take the decision of building the additional campus at Bunso. If Donkokrum campus is not going to be built, and that is the one being moved from Donkokrum to Bunso, why?
But Majority Leader said there was nothing wrong with what they did.
The law doesn't say so. The law provides that the University Council shall determine where the campus should be. That provision, we should have to look at it again, because in establishing a university, you have to establish it first before you have a council in place. Now, if you are saying that the council should determine where to site the campuses, then you are putting the cart before the horse.
And let's now turn to the health sector this evening, as all is set for a partial opening of the University of Ghana Medical Center tomorrow, Wednesday, July 18. In this report, we find out how accessible the facility would be for the public, especially during emergencies.
From Wednesday, July 18, the Referral Outpatient Department, Pharmacy, Laundry and Housekeeping will begin operation at the facility, which has been dormant for 18 months. In accessing the facility, one would have to go through the University of Ghana Legon campus. But how feasible will this be, especially in the case when motorists must have an access pass to enter the campus? It appears the Okpongolo route would be the easier alternative. The news team was denied access when we attempted the Gempa route, which leads to the campus. The story was no different at the entrance, which connects directly to the TF hostel of the University of Ghana campus. Referrals from health facilities in areas like Achimota, Christian Village and La Paz may encounter challenges, particularly when patients are transported in private and commercial vehicles. The 650-bed facility, built at a cost of $217 million was inaugurated by former President John Dramani Mahama on January 4, 2017. The absence of a backup generating plant is reported to have been a major obstacle to the opening because some equipment could not be operated on with power from the national grid due to possible power fluctuations. It started in April 2013 as a techie project by Messrs Engineering and Development Consultants Limited of Israel, with Sheba Medical Center Israel as the medical consultant.
And our government has set up a two-member committee to begin investigations into concerns that persons with disability are sidelined from manning assigned toll booths. The Ghana Federation of Disability has gone public with concerns that members are frustrated by supervisors at the various toll booths.
In 2017, the government started negotiations with contractors operating the toll booths to employ about 50% of physically challenged persons. The aim was to mainstream persons with disability, PWDs, into National Social Protection Strategy and poverty reduction interventions. Almost a year into the program, members are lamenting the ill treatment being meted out to them at the various toll booths. Greater Accra Regional President of the Ghana Federation of the Disability, Anthony Adakwa, among other things, says out of 103 people managing the toll booths, only 27 are physically challenged, contrary to the policy which requires a 50% recruitment.
Some of the collectors sometimes refuses to allow some of my members to be on their duty posts because they keep on telling them that sometimes they don't even inform them. They may be there right from their home, come to the workplace, and they will be told you should go back, with the simple reason that someone has to come and do your work without just informing you.
The decision to allow persons with disability to work at the various toll booths is a brainchild of the Road and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amoako-Attah. Speaking on 3FM's morning show Sunrise, Mr. Amoako-Attah said a two-member committee has been set up to investigate the concerns.
Something that I will not tolerate. I will be grateful if you talk to me again after Tuesday to receive the initial report. And I can assure you and assure all Ghanaians that this kind of indiscipline will not be tolerated by government that minded. No, there's nobody. And if there is anybody in my ministry who wants to frustrate this effort of giving employment to disabled people, that person will go out first. I'm telling you, and I'm a serious person.
Meanwhile, the Greater Accra Regional Director of Highways, Engineer Lawrence Lamte, said the concerns would be taken on.
They won't be discriminated at all. It's a government policy. So, and it's even good that they even came up and said these things, because some people will harbor inside and then it will destroy them. So we are happy. Maybe they should have exercised a bit of caution and spoken to us.
He, however, admitted that the Ghana Highways Authority has not been able to meet the 50% recruitment promised by government.
Now, in some other news this evening, the National Labour Commission intends to charge clients who seek their services to support their operations. The Executive Secretary, Kweku Ofosu-Asamoah, spoke to our Labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku, at a forum in Accra convened by Organised Labour.
The Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission expressed concern about low allowances paid to the commissioners. This, he said, has resulted in the commissioners having to work on part-time basis. Currently, the commissioners sit once a week from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and receive 400 cedis each per sitting. Again, if the cases are referred to an arbitrator by the commissioners, the arbitrator receives $350 per hour. The commission intends to secure cabinet's approval to charge clients who seek their services.
Whoever petitions the commission upon the successful prosecution of his case get money. We award costs for them. People get paid 2-3 years. When there's offense, and they get compensation, damages, and so on. So it's money. It's an investment worth doing. If we are not able to prosecute the case well or settle it, how do you get what you want?
The LNOC has one lawyer to prosecute more than 200 cases this year.
The vacancies are there. We need to engage 4 lawyers. That is what has been approved for us. We have only one. We want to go ahead and employ. And we haven't got the financial clearance. And we are battling with the cases. Like I told you, between May 4th to today, 200 fresh complaints have been lodged. We need to deal with it. And this is one of the problems. I don't know what is happening.
Spokesperson for Organized Labour, Dr. Yauban, backed the Commission's decision.
Even in our own capacity as trade unions, we would like to support them, even if it's financially. We will do it to make sure they support our work. Because without them, our members are being denied justice all over the country. You have backlog of cases, thousands of them. I mean, this is not good for us. It's not good for the unions. It's not good for the workers.
Discussions at the forum centered on operations of the LNOC, which currently has 290 cases pending and 178 others at a deadlock.
Now, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has rejected calls by some civil society groups to use petroleum revenue to finance the National Health Insurance Scheme. President of the association, Dr. Kweku Asante Krobia, urged government to find alternative sources of funding after Labour has indicated plans not to pay the 1% levy.
The health insurance scheme's current debt stands at 700 million Ghana cedis, with an annual funding deficit of about 450 million cedis. Government owes service providers 715 million cedis, a debt that keeps accumulating. Insurance card holders are reportedly being surcharged for treatment at some hospitals. The executive director of the Health Insurance Service Providers Association of Ghana outlined a number of interventions that government must take into consideration to maintain the scheme.
We are of the view that the health insurance should increase the premium. The government should give them at least 1% petroleum levy, which should be given to them. And then the call by health insurance that the levy should be increased by 1% is in the right direction.
How much do you want the premium to be?
You're watching News 360. Now on our MTN Visual Reports this evening, our citizen journalist Prosper Jambedu highlights the poor state of the road at Naliregu Nakpanduri in the northern region.
This is the main road linking Naliregu to Nakpanduri in the northern region. This has been the state of the road for some years now. It has never gotten its share of the nation's cake. Motorists cannot ply this road, so they have diverted the road to a different portion. And even that diverted portion also has its own share of the potholes. In fact, a road in Ghana where more than 50 cars ply it every day for economic activities, which they pay tax to the country. Prosper Jambedu, citizen journalist, reporting from Nakpanduri in the northern region.
Well, like Prosper, we encourage you to also send your visual report via WhatsApp number. It's 055-14-33044. That's 055-14-33044.
You're on News 360, and let's see what's still to come on News 360 tonight.
Ghana Stock Exchange suspends trading in ADB bank shares.
And on the foreign front, U.S. President Donald Trump hits back after facing fierce criticism over his summit with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin.
Well, stay with us here on News 360. Bring the details of these stories and some more news shortly.
It's still News 360. Thanks for staying with us. Good evening. Time for business. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampan. To one of our developing stories, the Ghana Stock Exchange has suspended trading in ADB Bank shares following the annulment of its share acquisition by the Bank of Ghana. Now, this, according to the Stock Exchange, is to prevent market and investor abuse.
The Ghana Stock Exchange, in pursuant to Rule 7 and Rule 14 of its trading and listing rules, has suspended trading in the shares of ADB for 3 consecutive business days, effective Tuesday, July 17. The suspension of trading in ADB shares, according to the exchange, is to prevent disorderly trading, prevent market and investor abuse, and to prevent investors from taking decisions that may make them worse off than would have been the case if they possessed more information and clarity on the matter.
The shares in question represent significant holdings, approximately 51%. On the basis of that, we want to protect all investors, including the owners of those shares. Okay, if because of information asymmetry, because somebody is not aware of what is going on, he decides to flog the shares at a price that at the end of it is harmful to his own investment, then we have not done a good job in protecting investors.
He said the Bank of Ghana is not questioning the listing of ADB, but the purpose for which funds were appropriated.
They quoted extensively on the powers by which they're doing that. So why are you saying Bank of Ghana cannot do that? They are the regulator of the banking services in this country. Bank of Ghana is not questioning the listing. They are talking about the purpose for which money was given, and that money ended up being used for a different purpose. On the basis of that, they're taking over those shares.
To prevent negative impact on the market, the exchange is suspending trading in ADB shares for 3 days.
Our suspension of trading is to allow information to seep to all shareholders. When there's information asymmetry, market can be abused, investors can be abused. So between now and Thursday, close of Thursday, we believe that there will be sufficient time for the information to see, for people to see clarity.
Trading in ADB shares will resume on Friday, July 20.
Well, meanwhile, investment bankers are calling on the Bank of Ghana to come forward with more detail on its action of annulling the acquisition of shares in ADB. Now, this, they say, will help stabilize their financial sector.
Following the annulment of the acquisition of shares in ADB by the Bank of Ghana and its subsequent suspension of trading of shares in the equity, investment bankers and analysts have begun asking questions. Managing Director of First Bank Brokerage, Edem Akpenyo, said the move by the BOG has opened up a lot of questions which need to be answered.
Let's not forget that some of these acquisitions, I believe, were done through the IPO. So going forward, what happens when a banking entity is going to undertake an IPO? Does it mean that if anybody wants to acquire or buy more than 5% in an IPO, they must necessarily get a Bank of Ghana approval first?
He said the fate of the public shareholders of ADB IPO must be addressed.
If Bank of Ghana says that the shares of certain entities have been annulled, what does it mean? These people have spent money to buy shares in ADB. Are you returning their monies to them? Are you just taking over their shares and they're not being compensated for anything? These are things that we need to receive answers from the BOG from.
Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahini lauded the governor of the Bank of Ghana for the bold move, adding that it is the best thing that ever happened to Ghana's financial sector.
Sanity is being introduced in the banking sector. For me, kudos for governor having that bold and courageous to take this action. It will help him to enforce all the corporate governance issues.
He said further investigations must be done on the issue and those found culpable be referred to the special prosecutor.
If it happens to be what we are saying, it could be one of the biggest financial crime in this country. And all those people involved, it doesn't matter who was then the governor, then who was the SEC boss, and those who were security, GEC listing rules, all those people must appear to explain why these things happen. Because the damage to the stock exchange is going to be quite enormous.
Okay, so the Bank of Ghana will be holding their Monetary Policy Committee meeting, and hopefully by Monday we'll be getting you some answers to some of these questions posed. But again, still in the banking sector, reports reaching TV3 Business indicates that Beige Bank has laid off about 300 workers since the beginning of June 2018. Now, according to sources close to TV3 Business at the bank, the mass dismissal is as a result of need to restructure the company as well as save costs. Now, TV3 Business further gathers more layoffs within the company before the end of the year. And it was only a year ago that the Bank of Ghana registered Beige Capital as a bank. Officials of the company said it was the first time they have been forced to lay off workers on a big scale. Now, for about 10 years, Beige operated as a savings and loans firm. And again, TV3 Business gathers that GN Bank, Sahel Sahara Bank, and Premium Bank have agreed to merge. The move follows the Bank of Ghana's directive for all banks to meet the minimum capital requirement of 400 million cedis this year. And the deal could be the first in a series of following the central bank's directive to commercial banks to recapitalize if approved by the central bank. Now, the three banks commenced merger talks this year and finalized the deal this month, July 2018, TV3 Business gathers. According to sources close to TV3 Business, the name and other branding-related issues will be dealt with after the central bank's approval, and whoever takes over as managing director will also be out after the BOJ approves. Again, some workers are likely to be laid off within these three banks, and more information will be given to you in our subsequent bulletins. Okay, so let's rest it on the banking sector now. And players in the import and export sector have questioned the implementation of the cargo tracking notes, which was suspended by the Vice President in May this year. According to the Ghana Union of Traders Association and the Food and Beverages Association, they are yet to be consulted by the Ghana Revenue Authority on the policy on the way forward.
The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, served notice to reintroduce the cargo tracking notes policy from July 1, following two failed attempts earlier in the year. The Cargo Tracking Note, CTN, is a platform by the GRA for collection and management of commercials and logistical information relating to the cargo and ship from loading ports. Its introduction forms part of the drive to modernize GRA operations to facilitate trade in line with international best practices. But the Ghana Union of Traders Association disagrees. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, says it will only add on to their cost.
We would like to appeal to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, through the good offices of the Economic Management Team, to suspend the implementation until proper deliberations are held with all relevant stakeholders in order to achieve the set goals for the benefit of all.
They fear this will continue to burden them as they already pay huge charges at the ports.
It is even more unfortunate that the policymakers refuse to do anything about the already high cost of doing business, the astronomical rate of duty, fees, levies, and charges that accumulate to about 50 to 65% of our import capital.
The group says until proper stakeholder consultations are held, they will resist the implementation.
Right, so we're getting the Ghana Revenue Authority to respond to some of the issues in that particular bit. But that will do for business tonight. There's more on 3news.com. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Isa is standing by.
Thank you, Nanika. Let's do some more stories. And President Akufo-Addo has challenged winners of the maiden presidential pitch competition to focus on building global enterprises to enhance their creativity and innovation. The president made the observation at the presentation of their prizes at the Jubilee House in Accra.
The presidential pitch seeks to unearth young entrepreneurs across the 10 regions of the country to showcase their innovative business ideas to the president to get financial assistance to implement such ideas. They showcased in the final context project on technology, agriculture, construction, energy and agro-processing, among others. President Akufo-Addo lauded their hard work and encouraged them to be more innovative and build global enterprises.
We live in a world where if we cannot compete with others, we're going to find it very difficult to pay our way. And competition in today's world means what? Enterprise, creativity, innovation, in all the new industries that the 21st century economy is creating around the world. We must be able to show that we can compete in the making of this new economy. That is the only way we're going to be able to guarantee prosperity for our populations in the years down the road.
All 10 contestants received cash prizes ranging from 30 to 50,000 cedis.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has received letters of credence from envoys of some 5 countries on duty tours in Ghana. The envoys pledged to work towards improving relations with Ghana.
First to present his credentials was the Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Shi Ting-Wang. He pledged to work to deepen and push relations between China and Ghana. President Akufo-Addo said the 2 countries will work to promote investment cooperation. Next to present his credentials was Myint Suez of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar. He called for strengthening cooperation on trade, investment and tourism. The Bangladeshi High Commissioner to Ghana, Sultana Hussein, was also at the presidency to present her credentials. Ugandan High Commissioner Nelson Ochega wants the 2 countries to strengthen areas of defense and security. Shelley Hook Vicario also presented her letters of credence.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub here at Adisawe Kanda. We've got the latest of news from the world of sports coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Hello, let's settle down for some entertainment news tonight on News 360. So tonight we deal with emojis, and that's because it's World Emoji Day. Emojis have become an integral part of everyday interaction on social media. Users are spoiled with choice with over 2,800 symbols, which describe the most basic human activities and interaction. As we celebrate the 5th World Emoji Day, Solace Rose Quartet explores the world of emoji and how they have impacted modern-day communication.
A picture, they say, is worth 1,000 words, but in social media communication would rather stick with emojis. On the occasion of World Emoji Day, we're asking you, what is your favorite emoji?
With over 2,000 symbols to choose from, emojis play a key part of self-expression. The first emoji was created in 1999 in Japan by Shigetaka Kurita. Over the years, emojis have evolved, with many tech firms adding different genres to the already growing list. Whether you're a fashionista, sarcastic, or a dancing queen, there is an emoji for you.
Just the dark glasses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's your favorite.
That's my
favorite.
favorite.
One you use the most?
That's the one I use the most.
The tears coming from the eyes, and also the one with...
Word of the year for 2015, emojis are now also being embraced by brands across the globe. In 2015, Pepsi launched its Pepsi emoji. For 2018, Apple has launched over 70 new emojis to be released on iOS later this year. These emojis include more hair options, red hair, curly hair, and gray hair.
a new emoji for bowed people, and new smileys. What influences the use of emojis?
Sometimes people do ask unnecessary questions, and you know it's rhetorical. So sometimes I don't know. Even if you know the person should know, but the person is still asking you what the thing is. So
my favorite is the eggplant emoji.
What does it mean?
I don't have to explain that. I sent it to my wife though.
Right. Okay.
The one with the tears and the tilted face. I love that very much because I like laughing. I laugh literally over everything.
Now, imagine social media without emojis.
Social media messaging will be bland, just black and white with no color without emojis. And emojis go a long way to help us express our emotions better.
To me, it adds an extra layer of meaning to the messages that you're sending. It's more than just text.
Ever heard of the saying, if it's good enough, make a movie out of it?
What's he doing? He's making the wrong face!
Besides the fun aspects, emojis are also being used to create awareness on issues of social inclusion, racism, and bigotry. Reddit co-founder and husband of tennis star Serena Williams, Alex Ohanian, says, emojis are the universal language of the internet and should reflect the modern world where interracial relationships are normal. World Emoji Day also rates the overall most used emoji for the year. In 2017, winners of the World Emoji Awards were announced from the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange and broadcast on Cheddar.
Who, me? What's he doing? He's making the wrong face!
Huh?
What the heck?
They make live communicating with others very simple, don't they? Now, so I'm just wondering, if we had emojis specific to Ghana, what would they look like?
Good question.
For instance, would we have, our food look
have
like
our fabric?
Or, yeah.
Okay. Banku kind of look like ice cream.
Yeah, two big balls of banku and tilapia.
Yeah, sure. So maybe kente,
or batagari. Exactly.
Something to take note of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it for entertainment news tonight. There's more news on 3news.com. I'm Miriam.
And that does it for News 360 as well. My name is Issa Moni.
I'm Natalie Fort. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. As always, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Have a lovely evening.